Welcome to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where inspiration meets action. This is your spot to grow, level up, and lead with fresh ideas. From sales to service, from frontline teams to executives, we're dropping weekly knowledge and insight to keep your store sharp, relevant, and profitable. Let's get into it. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. I'm thrilled to have Bill Camastro with us. He's a dealer partner at Gold Coast Cadillac in Jersey. We found out that we've had a long-time connection. Danielle, who many of you guys know, my colleague, my right hand, our VP, used to sell cars at his auto mall back in the day in West Palm. Anyway, it's so great to have you on here, Bill.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And say, send out a shout out to Danielle. It was a long time ago. Looks like everybody made it through the grunt work well. So we're all here.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Well, listen, I will tell you, it was Danielle that scouted you out, and she was like, okay, I like what Bill talks about. You know, you and I align in a lot of ways. I built my company based on guest experience, and, I train in the dealership, service and sales, and really I'm very focused on, connecting with people. And now in this digital, AI world, we have to still stay cutting edge, and we still have to leverage these tools, and we're starting to reshape, roles and processes, and just rethinking how we can create that human and that AI combo, that hybrid, so they coexist together. And anyway, things are starting to get reimagined on how we continue to deliver great guest experiences. And Danielle was like, you got to talk to Bill.
Well, I'm hoping I can add some value. I mean, I have some general thoughts on the topic. But if you want to get into specifics, you dive in. Let me know where you'd like to go with it. I'm fine.
Yeah, well, heck, okay. So first off, our audience should know that, listen, you have one of the highest rated and recognized brands in the Northeast. You are a high-level Cadillac store, and a lot of times, and a long-time dealer. The thing is, a lot of times people don't want to change. And as you continue to succeed and you watch the brand emerge and capture a different generation of buyers, you got, maybe you could walk us through a little bit on how you keep the balance between, high tech and high touch, there at your store.
So a couple things. Number one, I realized about, 15 years ago that if I didn't kind of jump in with both feet and become digitally savvy, that I'd become a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to become a dinosaur. So I kind of just in any board I could get on for any company that had digital advertising, whether it was cars.com or Auto Trader or Edmunds.com. I was in the I weaseled my way into the Edmunds Fast Lane program, and I helped design an app that had intuitive logic. This is 10 years ago. And right now I'm involved with 4 different companies. One of them is Numa.com, and I'm an investor, and I help with development. It's in 1,400 dealerships now. Company's got a very, very high value and multiple. So you got to be in the game to learn from the game, win or lose. And that was kind of my philosophy. I grew up very, very poor. I didn't have a lot of open doors. I didn't have a silver spoon. I didn't have a spoon sometimes. So when you grow up that way, and it's not a sob story, but when you grow up that way, you learn how to be proactive.
Yeah.
And when you live life that way, you have to be proactive, because there really isn't anything behind you to lose, right? If you're not looking behind you to keep track of what you have, everything's forward looking. So for a long time in my life, as I was kind of going through my progression in my career, many wins and losses, many failures along the way, many learn lessons. But one thing I knew for sure is if everyone's going to walk around with one of these, and everyone's going to walk around with one of these iPad and talk on one of these, that I needed to pay attention. Otherwise I would get lost. And I just couldn't see myself doing that. What I see it as today is, like, years ago, we used to have the phone, an analog phone with a cord, and there was no on hold button. You press buttons or you dial, you had the rotary dial. Back in those days, you kept handheld worksheets and you had to keep a binder with everybody in
Index
there,
cards.
index cards, make your notes. It was all the same information. It was just, but the one thing I can say is, while it may have been very accurate information, and I think the thing that really strikes me is nowadays things move so much faster, right? So
Right.
customer input, data input, as long as we're not lazy, we gather all the same information, only that information can be processed and put in various formats that can speed up our representation back to the customer, or our own ability to look at what we did or didn't do, measure it better,
Hmm.
and offer us suggestions in terms of how we might want to move forward in the next transaction or with the next customer.
Hmm.
Analytics, if you will, which made sense to me. It just kind of made sense to me. And the other thing too is we've evolved so much. And I'll give you the classic example to me, which is like the exclamation point. If you go on Google right now and you look for anything, in the upper left, right, not all the way at the top, but kind of upper left, you'll see the AI assistant on Google.
Right. Hmm.
Picture this for a moment. Customers looking for a car. Okay.
Hmm.
Think about all the tentacles that come off of this. Customers looking for a vehicle. They no longer go to 15 websites. What they do is they go to Google Assistant and they voice command Google, give me the dealer that's geographically beneficial to me, easiest to get to, with the best reviews, that has this car in stock and
Exactly.
has a reputation for being fair priced, has
Yes.
won a car. And Google will then give you exactly what you would have been shopping for by going to all these various sites, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you might cross-reference it, but in the
The AI
end,
assistant specifically.
but the AI assistant is going to
Yeah.
become it won't be how everybody shops, but in large order, it's going to be how a lot of people shop. Now, there's good and bad with that. So the good is that's going to create a lot of low funnel traffic,
Mm.
because when you go there, you may not be 100% on what you got, but the information you got is going to really be because you prompted the information,
Right.
and the information you got back was based on your specific request.
Yeah.
You've already qualified yourself. And because you provided the information, your own impression of the information you got back was what you wanted, right? It's the perfect scenario for you. You designed it. It's
Mhm.
personalized. So you get that information back. You're likely to give that dealership an opportunity many, many more times than if you just went to specific websites, because on those websites, the information is probably geared towards making that specific dealer look as bright and shiny as they can make it.
Mhm.
And customers will come to that conclusion, which I think is a good thing, because I think process wise and in-store wise, people wise, experience wise, engagement wise,
Yep.
we can we can shop the same way. We can mystery shop Google, tell it the same thing, have it tell us exactly where it would send the customer and why, and then model our experience around what the AI assistant is telling the customer to an extent, right?
Mm.
We can
Mm.
also then ask Google AI, why isn't my store recommended with this criteria?
Exactly. I like your where you're headed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because the reality is we're already seeing customers show up at the desk with the deal they got off GPT, and
right,
luckily GPT's like on our side so far, and everybody will take that deal. But
right.
that's what we're starting. That's what's starting to emerge. And so if you're not in there seeing where you rank and figure out how to get yourself to be a GPT, for example, top three, let alone the Google AI assistant. I really love what you're saying is that now you need to be aware of what it's saying to customers and make sure
Right.
that you're delivering. I
Okay.
love that
But
accuracy.
that's going to send a lot of chills up a lot of dealers' spines, because
Mhm.
if you're a dealer right now that is not, for example, when you appraise a trade, you like in years ago, you come back to the customer and you tell them, well, you have a dent here, so that's $500. And the customers
Right.
don't want to hear all that. Okay.
No.
What they want to see is how you validate what the trade is worth. So you print out Kelly Blue Book, you print out Gallups, you print out Edmunds, and you say, okay, these are the three appraisals. So the high and low is here. This is the middle. We see your car towards this side of, but at least you have real time validation from credible sources that the customers will be willing to operate most customers will operate somewhere within that bandwidth because you validated market low, middle, and high. This is what's out there based on actual transactions. Okay. The only negotiation we have is which part of the spectrum your car resides in. And a good salesperson will present it that way. Now, I think I'm a pretty good salesperson, so I would present it that way. And what we find here is more times than not, the customers your look to book will be much higher if you present it within that bandwidth.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you just throw a number out there. Well, you're doing exactly the opposite of how the customer shopped. And if the number isn't right where the customer said, when you do that, you're going to immediately lose credibility. So what I think, as it comes to the AI stuff, the more you can approximate to what the AI bots will tell customers, the better off you're going to be. It doesn't mean you have to hit it on the head.
Now you got to be in a ballpark.
Right. So you want to be in the vicinity. And you might want to make a little more margin, maybe a little bit less for the you never know. You never know. But I think there's a lot going on here that we haven't really thought about yet. And that is this. AI is based on data influx. It's solely based on data influx. The intuitive logic it changes. Okay. It evolves, but the evolution is always only on from data input and data influx. Okay. AI does not think forward, which is what people don't realize. It doesn't think forward. It only makes its conclusions, and its intuitive logic is based off of what it's given. So your data sources matter. It eventually, some of the data sources will be a cars.com. It will be a True Car. It will be a letyouknow.com, a smaller little .com that's coming on the market now. Letyouknow.com. I'm telling you, pay attention to this. Very well thought out. It's a non-intrusive, cost-free website to the dealer. So it's not a race to the bottom. But all those transactions are going to feed AI eventually.
Yeah.
They're going to feed AI eventually. AI is going to crawl all of that, and its conclusions are going to change and evolve also. Right? So
you got to stay on top of it, and you can't just be like, oh, okay. You're constantly trying to evaluate your own business within AI and what it's spitting out. I hear you loud and clear.
Absolutely.
And speaking of AI, the thing is, this thing continues to evolve, and it's great to hear your passion. And I want to go back, rewind just for a second, because I say this to dealers all the time. I say it to people in the dealerships. The best way to stay progressive, to stay relevant, to stay on top of everything, is to make sure that you are not only you got to be highly active in AI. It doesn't mean that you're just like a user, but if you're a dealer, I say this to my dealer clients all the time. You need to start working on a product. I don't care if you build the product for your store and you never use it. You need to understand more than the surface level to really ensure that you are asking the right questions, that you're bringing in the right partners. AI is a whole new thing. It's a whole new thing, and we can't really compare it to anything else because it's still in production. People have these high expectations of it and everything. And it has its inconsistencies. I'm sorry. Yeah, please.
No doubt. AI will always be in evolving production unless we choke it out.
Yeah.
Right? So unless you stop providing it data, once you stop providing it data, it can only make the same conclusions over and over again. Right? This is what people forget. But AI is going to evolve to a point. It's only going to evolve to the point where human beings can stop feeding it information because there's no more information to feed it, right? But here's the reality.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not, because as time goes on, there'll be variations to everything, mutations, variations, everything you can possibly think of. The difference is AI does not watch body language.
Yeah, you got to have that human component.
Yeah, AI
I'm with
cannot tell you need a breath mint.
Yep, it's a hybrid. Right? Yeah,
exactly. It can't tell you that the customer sitting across from you likes to be called by their first or their last name. It can't tell you whether the husband's going to get jealous if the wife pays too much attention to the salesperson. The husband can't tell you if the real human emotions that help that get humans to make non-rational decisions. We make a lot of non-rational decisions. A rational decision is a decision that somebody tells you is the same decision that they would make. That's all that means, right? That's what rationale means. Common, reasonable. All those words mean if I make the same decision as you would make, it's reasonable, it's rational.
Okay.
AI doesn't think that way.
No.
AI only thinks about 1 + 1 is 2 because that's what they gave me last week.
That's
all
right.
it thinks about.
Yeah.
So
you got to have a hybrid. You got walk us through how you're tackling this in your store, because I do think that this is a very relevant conversation. You still have to bring in these tools, and getting involved in Numa, great idea. Love what they're doing. They're still evolving, and you've got there's certain talents that they just don't hold, that your team members will never be able to be replaced by AI. We're not replacing people. And by the way, people are scared. I see them in my classes when I bust out the GPT in my activities. Some of these guys push back just on that activity, and they say, oh, you're not letting us use our brains anymore. Oh, no, we're just copy and pasters. And I say, listen, everybody has a skill, and it is important to leverage what the AI can't do with AI, so you're a high performer. This is designed to enhance your performance.
No question. Listen, AI is writing speeches for top flight political and government politicians. Okay,
we've seen some big guys get busted.
Yeah, but I want you
to
think about but let's think about this for a moment. Okay, so this is really, for me, the answer to all of those people that are worried about that element.
Okay.
Would you vote for a president that was an AI chatbot?
No.
Would you marry an AI chatbot?
That'd be weird.
That'd be weird, right? If you walked into a dealership that had no people in it at all.
Yeah.
Okay. And on every desk was a little speaker and a PC with a chatbot in it, and every question you asked was answered by one of those.
Right.
Well, would you buy a car there? You might not, but you'd be weirded out. I mean, because
people love the human touch. We need connection. This is the real world over here.
Exactly.
We are people. People need people.
That lack of the human element would make us throw our equilibrium off, because as human beings, we're born from another human being. We're used to our mothers cradling us. If you grow up and your dad doesn't give you enough attention, you become a whack. Whatever the reasons are that drives human behavior, AI cannot control that.
No.
We can't control AI once it's prompted, but AI cannot control those innate things that drive people to make decisions. Why do people still marry a particular type of person or not a particular type of person? Well, he married over his head. Well, what does that mean? Well, if he asked AI, he should have married somebody else. It's not a common sense thing. Human beings we reserve the right to make the non-conventional decision based on other factors that AI will never have within its confines. So, and that's a good thing, because that's why it'll never replace us. The second thing is, how do you use AI? What we use AI for is this.
Let's hear it.
I don't want to eliminate people and reduce my expense by plugging in AI. What I want to do is I want to make every human being I have 50% more effective through the use of AI.
Sure, that's what it's for. Efficiency, right? Accuracy,
100%.
consistency.
Accuracy, consistency, also the ability to be 24/7 if we want to be. 24/7 available to a consumer in one way, shape, or form, if not even physically available as human
and our guys want to go to bed.
100%. But if AI is working
24/7,
but if it's working while you're in bed,
that's what I'm talking about.
and at least one side of the communication,
nobody slips out.
Exactly, and you're attaching a test. It may not be your favorite place to be. It may not be the perfect scenario. But if a customer, human nature, it's 11 o'clock at night. If I'm calling in for a service appointment, I know they're not going to take me now.
This dials back to guest experience.
Exactly. If I can't get a human being, but I'm talking to the human being's IP address, and I know it's real time, I'm going to do it, because when they wake up tomorrow, if I get a call at 8 o'clock in the morning from my service advisor because I spoke directly to the transcription, he's jumping into my conversation where I'm at, not going all the way back to the beginning when he picks up the phone to call me. So it's very efficient.
Love that, because nobody likes a system reset.
No.
Makes customers feel like wasting their time. Yeah.
Press 2 to leave a message. Press 3 to transcribe. We don't do any of that. You opt into voice command texting. A transcription's happening real time. If you happen to be awake watching, the midnight news, and you see it come up on your cell phone that Bob is stuck on the side of the highway, you can call it. Even if it's 2 times a month, you catch somebody that doesn't expect to be caught at 12 o'clock at night because they're stuck. It's another customer you've added. And our philosophy is simple. For every 100 customers that I maintain in my service, drive past 30,000 miles, 70% of those will give us a shot to sell them a new car, and 40% of the 70% will buy a new car. So every time I pick up one of those customers, I've built my foundation bigger and my customer retention bigger. And I built my sales with retained customers.
I love how you're leveraging AI alongside, our team members who are very valuable in ensuring that we're fighting for loyalty. And that dials back to, relationships, connections, and everything like this. I heard that you implemented something thinking about, guest experiences and, again, leveraging technology, but also doing things that help you stand apart from your competitors. Listen, it's a dogfight out there, especially right now. Everybody's clawing at the same customer, the same old basic approaches. And so being efficient and allowing our team members to be more front and center, more humanly connected, not doing digital crap that's like wasting our time, follow-ups, is part of the hybrid, reshaping roles. Okay, so I heard you talk about this physical thank you letter, QR code, drives them into the schedule. Drives them into that service schedule. I love the service department. And I can't wait to see this idea that you've come up with and the results that you've seen so far. Okay, show it to us.
This is our physical thank you letter.
Okay. And so for everybody that's listening, this is a regular 8.5 by 11. It's got some printed words on it. It's got a QR code at the bottom of the letter.
So paper, as we know, comes from a tree, which I believe is conventional old school. Okay. Pencils. Number 2 pencils are still made from the same stuff.
How about that?
But what we do is we leverage the thank you letter as a nice touch when the customer's not buying the car, not when they're taking delivery, because they're not really paying attention when that's happening. They want their shiny object.
Yeah.
And up here, we have the list of things that the salesperson is required to do as pre-delivery with the customer. So now we're holding the salesperson accountable to the process right in front of the customer.
Nice.
In the middle here is my personal cell phone number.
He's confident, everybody. He's confident.
So they have my personal cell phone number. So this has got a self-policing mechanism built in because these people are supposed to do this up here. Know that the customer has this too.
Okay, so what he's saying for our listeners, he's got in the letter, it's kind of a checklist of what the salesperson was supposed to be doing. I think maybe a delivery, and then you are the owner. And you are putting your cell number. By the way, I have another owner. His name, in Florida, actually, too, in Orlando, and he does the same thing. He puts his phone number out there and his email, and I can't tell you what that does to their Google reviews, just alone.
Yeah. So
continue. So sorry.
Well, our Google reviews are good as part of that, but also any negative reviews we might get because the customer
you're fielding it.
No place else to go. I'm actually fielding it, and the customers always say to me, well, I didn't want to have to talk to you to get this resolved. And my response to that is, look, I chose to be a working part of my business.
That's right. It's my business.
Right. So I set my business up to take these phone calls when they do happen. My people aren't perfect, but they make less mistakes than the rest of the world. But that's what I'm here for in case things don't go perfectly. So down here, we have our QR code. And this is really a couple things. Every salesperson schedules first service appointment with the customer at point of sale. When they schedule that appointment, it goes into our automated appointment scheduler, which also sends you the reminders, which also sends a thank you to the customer for visiting us. It also here, what it does too is once the customers get used to scheduling appointments online, what then begins to happen is it helps your search engine optimization too. So everything we do is geared towards building our search engine optimization because obviously organic traffic is the greatest traffic.
Sure.
It's the most highly potent traffic, most low funnel traffic you can get.
Right.
And usually it's the highest volume of traffic you get to your site. So we don't use paid search to be our 600-pound gorilla. We use paid search to shine up the buttons on the 600-pound gorilla, if you will. And it supports it. But everything we do, including this QR code, leads customers back to our website, including we require our salespeople to be in our data mining portal, auto alert, half an hour a day during the week, every single day.
Okay.
A minimum of 10 hours a month, but we want it to be daily because if they're in there daily, the customers that they're actually churning and staying top of mind to go back to our website. Oh, and what we do is we serve up a tagged template with VDPs embedded in it. So when the customer clicks on it, it goes back to our website. Again, These are the things that Google and a lot of the search engines, they cannot, if you will, algorithm you out of relevancy.
Mm,
Can't stop you if you operate this way. There's a lot of things they can do. They can change their code, and you don't have enough reviews, you don't have enough. But the one thing they can't stop you is a customer who's dedicated to going to your website.
for
That'll
sure.
always have the most weight. So if you
Yeah.
continue to churn the customers up and churn them back to your site,
Yeah.
you have your non-captive customers, you have your general customers on the internet and general searches. But that's where you take the AI assistant and start listening to the way AI is telling customers how to shop.
Mm,
The listen to how it tells you the criteria, because what it's going to do ultimately, the more customers that use it to shop are then going to become the actual intuitive logic that AI gives back to the customers to shop.
hmm Yeah.
What they're going to basically tell you as the dealer is, here's the data points your customers are looking at, and then you can actually spend your advertising and digital dollars more efficiently.
Targeted.
If you pay attention, instead of running from it or saying, I'm just going to spend 10,000 more on the radio or TV,
Right.
it's going to give you your roadmap. It's going to, instead of running from it, run at it,
There you
because you'll
go.
get the answers. You won't need to eliminate your people to use it. You'll
No.
make your people more effective by paying attention to it.
Yeah.
I could be a bad scientist saying all this.
No, it's excellent. It's excellent. Listen, we all know what you're saying is validated because, listen, you want to build your brand. You want people to come back to your site. You want that to be the source for people. Because I mean, the truth is that those become the low hanging fruit. This is the low funnel conversion, and everybody knows that. It's just a matter of staying focused on, hey, listen, things are changing and evolving. Are you
Yeah.
changing with it?
Mhm.
And are you making those modifications? And
Sure.
with AI, and I see that you're heavily invested. I understand why, and I have to ask you. You see friction points in your own operation. This
Mhm.
is probably, maybe it's like missed calls in the service department.
Mhm.
They always go into the advisor voicemail, or
Yeah.
maybe we at those off hours that you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier for sales and service. And anyway, you've got your reasons. There's certain friction points that maybe you were seeing, and then it pushed you to invest into AI.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more? How did this happen for you, first off,
Mhm.
and how has it made a difference in your own operation?
Okay, so this is kind of
Maybe
a
you have
wacky.
metrics you could share too. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So before COVID, my online appointment scheduling was under 10%. So there's a good metric, which industry wide, it's probably in that ballpark right now.
Mm,
Online appointments scheduled for service. Okay,
10%?
it's a low number. I
Damn,
don't know
that's
what it is,
low.
but it's in that
Okay, yeah,
vicinity.
keep going.
It's low. Because some people don't even have online schedulers still to this
What?
day.
No.
So during COVID, I started up a chat group called Bill Camastro's #LevelUp. Just corny name, but I put it on Facebook because everybody was on lockdown and we were all sitting around, having salespeople run out to the lot because the customers weren't able to come in to show them a car
Mhm.
and then come back in, and they had to do the order on a DRP and blah blah blah. So everybody's on lockdown, and I figured on Sunday mornings I'm going to get as many, didn't have to be automotive people either. I actually got to a point where I had 78 active people on the chat group, which was an hour and a half on Sunday mornings from 10 to 11:30. And
Mm,
we did it at that time because people in Canada and people on the West Coast participated as well. And it was all about best practices, new technologies, you know, opening horizons, so that when COVID passed, hopefully, we didn't know what was going to happen. We would know what the next horizon is. And if COVID doesn't pass, how do we
Navigate.
proceed forward?
Yeah.
If we're all locked down forever and this is the way we're going to communicate, well, we better pay attention. But what came from it was some really, really great ideas. I'm on a call, and Mark Rikus, who's a friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
Mark calls me and says, I got these two guys that left Google recently, and they have this concept. I'd love for them to run it by you on one of the calls. Because I was a chairperson. I would talk for a couple of minutes. I put up a couple of really cool slides, a couple of cool, kind of
Yeah.
quotes from the Joker, the Riddler, from the Joker. What was his name? The guy who ended up dead.
You're asking the wrong person. I don't watch movies. Heath
Anyway,
Ledger.
Heath Ledger. A lot of great quotes from him online. Look him up. You'll see. So I put the
Okay.
picture up with all these great quotes that related to our business and motivation and so on. Anyway, at around 10:45, 11 o'clock, we'd always have a guest speaker for 20 minutes, talk about new technology, best practice, best idea, best concept, best strategy. And these two guys came on and they talk about Numa.com.
Huh.
And I'm listening to the two of them,
Mm-hmm.
Tasso and Joel, Joel, I can't remember his last name now. And they're talking about it. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is a great idea. So I asked a few of them if they wouldn't mind kind of having a sidebar after the meeting was over with. So after the meeting, I'm talking to the two of them, and they're like, yeah, we want to pilot it. We want this one. I said, listen, once you get the actual shell put together, let's beta test it at my store.
Great.
So we did.
Yeah.
And we started developing some of the things that were really important, like the people that write algorithms and people that write code. If you've ever had any of those friends in your world, like some of the retail people don't necessarily sit at the same table as the people that write code for a living, right? It's just very like different people.
No, it's different mindsets. It's different. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
But the language and the thinking of a person who writes code and the language and the thinking of a person who's a retail customer facing person is 180 degrees in the other direction. So people that write code, they have an idea of what they want the solution and the end result to look like, except they didn't build a mechanism that
is the real world
the way a retail person thought.
Right.
So they wouldn't use it.
Yes.
Right. So what I try to work through with them is, okay, how do we get this to a place where they got results, tangible results that they could see, where the functionality was easy and simplistic, but did not lose the intellectual property of the actual software platform. And how do we get it to that place where, the person at the end, a service advisor or a salesperson or, assistant service manager wouldn't look at it cross-eyed and go, I don't even want to log into this. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
So how do you dumb down the user friendliness and make it easy for the customer facing person to be efficient and at the same time not lose any of its intellectual property? And finally, we got it to a place where that occurs. Now it's developed at a really high level. So it went from being a concept to now being in 1,400 dealerships and literally worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The company now. What I
have learned in my journey in working with developers and working on building software in dealerships is that the absolute best have a developer working in the dealership in sync with the front line, constantly talking to customers to understand the outcomes. That is a really unique, shockingly unique approach to building a product that works for dealership team members. I'm really glad that you unleashed that on us, because I do think that there is a difference between one company and one AI tool versus the others. Techion, I had their founder on just recently, and he mentions we bought 2 dealerships so we wouldn't have to keep asking the dealers, can we beta? Can we be in your store? Hey, could you give us feedback? They just bought the dealer. Same concept. You have your developers work in the front line in the process to further develop that system. And anyways, I really appreciate your insights.
I know Jay Vijayan very well.
You
He's
do,
a very smart guy.
Yeah, very smart guy. Well, you're an early investor, it sounds like, in Numa, and they definitely are going places. I'm trying to get them on my podcast. But
they're sharp guys, let me tell you.
I'm happy to hear that. I listen. You are locked in, and I see your fight not only for your own brand, but for your longevity. And I see it in your mind too, that this excites you. Staying relevant, staying involved, submerging yourself. It's nothing new. You've been doing this for a long time, getting on the boards of all those internet lead companies, staying in tune with progress. This is outstanding leadership, in my opinion. Not a lot of people will have time for this, or they don't think they have time for this, but quite frankly, this is what gets you to the front of the line faster. And look at your results, being top tier.
I got to toss one ingredient there, because I agree with everything that you just said.
Yeah.
Not just about me, but just in life. So in my conference room, when you walk, I add an addition to the building over here. And when you walk up the flight of stairs, it's up to a landing and back up. There's the first painting you see says results trump excuses 100% of the time. And then when you get into the conference room, it's a big, beautiful conference room. There's 4 paintings on the walls. They're real oil paintings. One is of Tom Brady, one's Tiger Woods, one's Wayne Gretzky, and one's Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And there's I should say two things that they have in common. Two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, the thing that drove them most was their desire to win and succeed. And two, Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team at first.
Mm.
Michael Jordan only averaged 16 points a game at North Carolina, yet
Mm-hmm.
became one of the best basketball players that ever lived, if not the best. Tom Brady was picked in the
Similar
sixth round.
story.
Tom Brady was picked number 180 or something like that in the draft.
Right.
Tiger Woods had a breakthrough one of the most difficult glass ceilings of all time, being an African-American golfer, and then becoming one of the greatest of all time. Wayne Gretzky learned how to play hockey on a pond, okay, to become Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. So anybody that shows up has a chance.
Yeah.
Anybody that applies themselves has a chance.
Let's go.
Anybody that applies themselves and is willing to do whatever it takes to be successful and win.
That's right.
Will win at some level.
That's right.
You know, that's really what it comes down to. When the learning stops, the losing begins. That's, if you can live by that, believe me, you're going to win. When the learning stops, the losing begins. Bill Belichick said it best, in my opinion. Bill Belichick said, you know what? You got to constantly be moving forward, because even when you're standing still, you're going backwards because the earth keeps spinning. And it's so true. It's so true. And I listen, I'm not a perfect human being. I've had my shares of wins and losses.
For sure.
Many, many more wins at this point in my life than losses.
Happy to hear that.
You know, I got pretty nicked up along the way, and you got to be okay with that. You know, you really do. Whether it's digital sciences, whether it's investing yourself, you got it. Take the step. It's okay. Screw up trying, but don't screw up by not, because that'll stay on you like a bad suit. Don't do that. You got to
die with those regrets.
Not be afraid. Yeah, I mean, look at the guys that became winners. Look at where they came from to become the greatest of all time. None of them came from the front of the pack. None of them.
Not only that, but I want to just highlight the fact that those losses, that pain, you know, that suffering, that's the other layer in combination with working hard that gets you to the championship. You know, you have to go through pain and suffering to create, you know, not only resiliency, get back in that fight, work hard, right? Be consistent, but you also will learn the important lessons that will accelerate your growth, your mentality, what you're capable of. You've got to go through the pain and suffering.
The people that do in the end, to your point, the people that do in the end, there comes a point where the pain and suffering starts to turn into success, results, wins. And when you get to that place, what ends up happening is you become that person. It's no longer, I've got to work hard at this because I'm not good at it. It becomes, I know if I do that, I know I win. That's what it becomes. And so your persona becomes, people start saying, hey, why is it I drive 115 miles each direction to work every day. I actually do.
Damn.
It takes me 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours.
Because you live in Jersey.
Really? No, I work in Central Jersey. I live in the Hudson Valley in New York.
Oh, God.
It's a haul. But I love what I do. And if you get here after me, you're late for sure. But, you know, I'm motivated to do this. Yeah. I mean, look, everybody's different. Everybody's wired differently.
You're trying to win.
But if you want to win, you don't have to use the same formula that I've used or that you may have used. But if you want to win, you're going to get nicked up. You're going to fail sometimes. But if you don't put yourself in those situations to take the shot, you know, whether it's learning a word track, whether it's learning about digital sciences, whether it's whether
learning
it's going
AI.
to seminars, picking up a book, looking on AI, whatever it is, you got to put yourself there, because if you don't, the world's going to pass. You know, the world's kind of gone full circle, right? Everybody was staying home.
That's the clear future right there. That's a clear future.
Right. Everybody was told. Jeff Bezos said, back to the office or you're fired. Right?
Yeah.
Meta said, back to the office or you're fired. Elon Musk, back to the office or you're fired. Why? Because staying home costs you money and it costs the company you work for money. Period. End of story. If you want AI to take over the world, work remotely. Your job will go away. Think about that. You want AI to take over the world? Don't show up. Give your boss a reason to replace you with AI. Don't show up. That's what'll happen.
You guys listening, you dig deeper, how you can apply some of this conversation into your store, into your personal life. I want to thank you, Bill, for sharing your experience. I love your energy.
Jen,
Did you know that you matched mine?
We answered the ultimate question today. You know what the answer is?
What's that?
AI doesn't have passion. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Oh, exactly.
You do. It doesn't. It's
Yes.
got good
It's not just
information, but it
about
doesn't
tech.
have
It's
passion.
about humans too.
Exactly. If you
Yes.
put an AI bot on this show and say all the same things I did, it wouldn't be as exciting.
I'm coming out of my seat.
Because you got jacked up too. You got jacked up too. Right?
I love your vision. I love your real world lessons. You're a great guy. Bill, I had a great time with you today. I wish you all the best. You're the fighter. You're incredibly exciting to listen to. I love your momentum. I love your passion. And I love your fight more than anything.
Yeah.
And I love your realness to this thing. Well, thank you so much for your
time.
time.
Can I show you one thing before you go, everybody? This is important. Okay?
He's going to get something.
Right? Okay. I grew up in the Bronx with 9 brothers and sisters, 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. Yeah. What are the chances a guy who grew up like I did would end up on that guy's private island with him?
Oh my gosh. Look at you. Okay.
I was working out with Richard Branson on Necker Island.
It's Richard Branson, by the way, in the photo.
Yeah, on his private island before he went to outer space, he was working out and I worked out with him during COVID, no less.
Yeah.
He got 10 businessmen together from around the country, and I was invited. And, listen, what are the chances of that happening?
Well, surprisingly, I'm not surprised because, people that want to help other people and people who have been in the ditch, who understand how to get ahead, they will collab if you just ask. And if, people want to help other people all the time. They want the connections. They want to talk about improvement. They want to, Now, I'm not that surprised, but I just think
all good stuff. Listen,
you're great. Thanks for sharing this with us.
Passion will take you where you want to go.
The sky is the limit. You just got to work hard, 100%. Take the risk.
Jen, I didn't expect you to be the same type of person. This is great. I'm going to call you and interview you next time.
Bet.
This has been great. This has been fantastic. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hold on. Thanks, everyone, for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. Don't forget, my weekly live classes are designed to keep your team fired up, skilled up, and focused on results. Subscribe right now at edealersolutions.com.